So, Legal Services Act opens up the market, allows other people to come in. Here's just a bit of a pointer to what those new people might see in this marketplace, whether they're retailers, entrepreneurs, private equity, other brands. These are the sorts of things they'll do. They get regulated access to the market. As I said, nothing's happening here that takes what was regulated out of regulation. Those who have not been in regulation before have to get into that regulated territory. So they have to marry up the barrier to entry, because they can't go in at the moment without being regulated, against the cost of compliance and the cost of regulation. That's a business judgment they will make. Many of them are already regulated businesses. Regulation won't frighten them. Compliance is not a big issue for them. They'll have the ability to bundle and price services and products very differently. Lawyers pretty well still do everything by the hour, completely forgetting the fact that the cost of each hour is the same, but the value of each hour can be infinitely variable. So we have to think about value from the client's point of view. How can we give them certainty? How can we give them predictability in what they're buying? And that's what these new entrants will do, and Riverview Law already do it. The ability to innovate and control delivery. So thinking about standardizing and commoditizing the delivery of a legal service to make it predictable, to make the continuity and the consistency of the service guaranteed, rather than the unpredictability and the variability that you get with reinvention every time through human beings. Certainty of pricing, really important. And again, lawyers have this notion that if I give a client certainty of price, I'm going to charge them less. Where the hell does that notion come from? The client says they want certainty. They don't necessarily want cheaper. It may or may not be cheaper because it's certain. That's the business decision that providers make. But the idea that you charge for time and have to make a profit on every hour is barking mad. It's not a proposition that stands up to any logic at all. And they'll have access to the returns that are now available from legal services. They can, through branding, through scale, through that certainty and predictability, start to build brand loyalty. They may already have it in other areas. They now transfer it to law. You can see the possibility of retail dominance in legal services in ways that we haven't been able to contemplate until now. There will be economies of scale. We're already beginning to see that, and to be fair, some lawyers have got that message and they have started scaling up. They are delivering economies. And we will separate out the revenue and capital returns and make sure that each go to the right people, and only the right bits go to the right people, and they're taxed in the most tax-efficient way. So who's so far shown an interest? Well, fascinatingly, not Tesco. So why this was called Tesco Law is now lost in the midst of time. Typically, it was lawyers trying to describe something they didn't want to see, and in the process created a £30 million brand that Tesco can pick up sometime for free, which is, again, just shows you how good lawyers are at business. These people, I've already mentioned Riverview Law, and just because Carl's here, I will emphasise this point, but the fascinating thing about Riverview Law is that most of the names on that chart are focusing on the consumer market, and lawyers thought that's fine, let the consumers and the high street go off with all these brands. We're dealing with business clients, we are safe, we are secure, they'll keep coming back to us for a quality service for which we can charge variably. And Riverview Law prove them wrong. You don't have to deal with business clients in the same traditional way that law firms have historically. That mould has been broken. We've got the Co-op, the high street brand. So that it was not Tesco Law, now it's Co-op Law. They went in there. They declared early. They've geared up. They've gone in there. You can get people like Dragon's Den, James Kahn, Hamilton Bradshaw have invested in a law firm. Really interesting. And I've spoken to James, and he's got such a depth of knowledge about this marketplace, he would put most partners in law firms to shame. He really understands what's going on and where this market is going, and that's why he's invested. Not because he's going to put 50 grand in now and get 50 grand in 40 years' time. That's not attractive. He knows what he's onto. And again, that's fascinating. You've got all these lawyers resisting this stuff, saying we don't need it, why should we change? But by the way, it's hell in here, and I'm not making the money I used to, and I'm not happy, and please God, can I get out as soon as I can retire? And you've got that attitude, we're all doomed. And then people like James Kahn, Riverview Law, and all these other people saying, Please let me in. This is a fantastic, fascinating, profitable market. They can't both be right, can they? Just a difference in attitude. Stobart barristers, yes. Barristers by the lorry load. Direct access to the bar, not having to go through solicitors. Again, something that Riverview does. Different conception. Private equity, Quindell, which has also backed Paribas. And then Slater & Gordon, the world's first floated law firm, making an English acquisition of a big personal injury firm in the UK. That's the emergence of a real market, a meaningful market where law firms are traded, where brands are built, where services are delivered differently, at scale, in ways in which people want to buy. These people are not amateurs in the legal marketplace. They might be new to it, but they're not amateurs. Slater & Gordon from Australia, Rocket Lawyer from the US. Online delivery of forms bought in their millions at a fixed price. The world will look very different.